Welcome to another Prep Radio podcast. Tom Blackman with Paul Scarborough. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Tom.
Okay, you sound happier than usual today. What's happened with you?
Nothing. I just think it's a great day. There's you, me, and our special guest who also used to be in the Navy against you.
Oh, great. So you've spoilt the sort of the build up. Then I was going to build up to that. We've got this awesome guest coming on, and you just ruined the. You
can still do that. You can still do that. You're just making it up now. As you're making it up as you go along instead of sticking to the script that we always do.
I'm just going to edit out you from the beginning of that, and we're going to start again and do it all again. So, okay. So as Paul has ruined the moment, let me introduce you to our special guest for today. He is an ex-Royal Marine. No, Royal Navy.
Royal Navy.
Oh, I just
come on. Jesus. Come on, Tom.
Oh, man.
Should I say Army instead?
There'll be a lot of rounds out there disappointed with that.
You know, Dan, this is exactly what I've got to put up with all the time.
Okay, so our special guest is Dan Fallon. He's the author of Start With One Thing, and you might have seen him on Instagram walking around London with his kettlebell doing numerous things with it. But he's a very good specialist in exercise rehabilitation and a PT, and knows all sorts of awesome things about exercise. So we've got him on today to have a chat about his mission and what he's doing. So hello, Dan.
Hello, team. How are we?
I'm okay, apart from Paul's here, and he's obviously had a drink, so he's a bit more merry than normal.
I'm fine, Dan. Thank you.
Spicing it up.
Yeah, I'm admiring the fact that you've got not much grey hair, and I've not got that much, and yet Tom has got quite a bit of fluff coming out the side of his cap that he thinks he's disguising with his cap. Why are you wearing a cap inside, Tom?
Because I'm actually on my Star Destroyer, I'll have you know. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, watch the video back on YouTube and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I've actually got a cap on indoors because my hair grows out sideways like a big afro. So I look like I've swallowed a plate and it's gone to my brain. Not good.
Nice one.
And I do actually have some clippers at home to trim my hair, but I know that if I do actually do that, I'll end up with some sort of bum Mohican on the back of my head, and no one will tell me. They'll just let me walk around.
No one would take the mick out of you, would
they? You won't, Paul, would you?
No, never ever would I make the most out of that opportunity.
Well, Paul wouldn't see it because anytime I talk to him, I'm on Zoom or on FaceTime, whatever. So he'd only see my front. It's only when I'd be walking around Asda, people go, "Hey, Mr. Bumhead," and stuff like that. You know, that's what.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'd never find out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk to Dan because he is our guest. And he's the important person today. So Dan, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your where you started out, and what your mission is now?
Well, I suppose going back to when I first joined the Navy and became a PTI in the Navy, I always had this sort of passion for mostly exercise. I've never really got into the nutrition side of things, if I'm really honest, as in like being, all the sort of splits and stuff like that. I've never really got into that side of things because I'm kind of one of those people that I like to stick to one thing, if that makes sense. So I'd rather be a master in something and really just do that and focus. Some people might say that's narrow-minded, but hey ho. So movement's always been my thing and my passion. And then once I got into the exercise rehabilitation side of things, when I became a PTI in the military, that passion just grew and grew and grew. And then I ended up writing some content for kids because basically the clientele that I kept seeing, the patients I kept on seeing, were coming out with all these weird and wonderful shapes that looked nothing like what we'd asked them to show us, like a squat or a lunge or whatever. And I can turn around to the sports doctor one day and I said, look, listen, well, what's the problem here? And he said, well, the problem probably lies at school. That's where all this information can be fed in. And it's like, maths, English and science. And that's how we get that sort of fundamental knowledge. And then the PE. And then you look at PE in schools and none of it really sort of mentions anything about functional movements and stuff. I don't know if it does nowadays, but certainly at the time when I was thinking about writing these school books, they didn't. And then I was backed myself a little bit, left the military after writing the children's books, but it was my first exposure to was it failure? It was major feedback, let's say, as well. There was lots of red tape in the schools that I was going into. It wasn't quite as I pictured it. Probably pictured
not as simple as you thought.
Oh, no, nowhere near as simple. If you think about not so much the Joe Wicks at the minute, but I sort of pictured myself doing something where you would have an impact like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm obviously looking at his business model and he's following now. That's how he's been able to do what he's doing at the minute with the children. But that's how I sort of saw it, getting kids moving, squatting, lunging, pushing, and all that sort of stuff. With the storytelling, because that was the most important part for me. It's like you got to get. It's like anything in it. We all learn through storytelling, and we all sort of really take it on board a lot more. And that's why I wrote the Snowflake stories. And then I went through bouncing around really between working with PTs and coaching PTs how to coach their clients better. And then it came to a loggerhead where I was going to make the decision whether I was just going to focus on the rehab side of things because I was contracting for the MOD, or still have like this sort of stuff going on in the background where I can help other people online. But the online thing wasn't really working for me because I didn't really know how to do it. And that's when obviously we met Tom through Mike Samuels. Mike Samuels, obviously the king of content. I think he saw that I had some good ideas and some potential in my writing. And then I started paying to be in his group. Then I started paying to see him one-on-one. And he just sort of brought me on so much with my writing that I got more and more confident. And then he sort of said, well, we need to see, you need to figure out who you're going to speak to now. And then that's when it was like like that epiphany moment where I was like, well, dads, I suppose. So there you go then, dads. So I started writing towards, it was actually a specific friend of mine who would be my ideal customer. And I just thought about him every time I wrote, I thought about him. And it started attracting all sorts of dads then. And to be fair, I've actually come to a point at the minute where I've sort of gone a little bit too towards the dads that need real significant help. And I'm not able to do that because I've not got the time to do that because that's more of a one-on-one process. So I've gone back towards this dad that I wrote about in the first place and sort of then thought about what sort of type of person does need to be in this challenge in this community. And it needs to be somebody that actually meets us halfway and contributes to the teams, because the way we've got it set it up now is, and we'll talk about this because I know you've just come online with my zone as well, is when you do team challenges in this concept, it does an average score. So it's not just like the biggest scores win, it's an average score when it's a team event. So if like you've got some people that are really striving at the top, but some people that are doing nothing, literally nothing, even though they're paying to be in the challenge, it's frustrating for everybody else because it's like they're not putting effort in. So we've just recently, actually this week, had a good chat amongst us all and said, look, listen, I'm going to open this up to men now because I think I want to attract a certain type of person in this challenge. And it'll definitely still draw in the dad side of things because that's I think that's just it's going to be a legacy thing. But the type of people that I think that we've really drawn in who are like really engaged with us are veterans, people that are still serving. So we've got PTIs in there, Paul. We've got what else we've got? We've got people that are ex-sports players and sports players. And don't get me wrong, it's still there to help people, you know, shed a few pounds and stuff and get people in a little bit. But I've really sort of, since all this, has considered how I spend my time in this community and what's best suited for the community for it to thrive and become something that I envisaged it to become in the first place. So that's where I'm at with that at the moment. So yeah, so the Super You project, whereas it was just focusing on dads at the start, has probably molded into more of a man's club, where if you've got a little bit about you and you maybe just need that little bit of motivation, that little bit of focus, then this is definitely going to be for you. If you need more significant input, like, you know, some behaviour change stuff, probably not going to be for you, because you need some more one-on-one, which obviously people like me and yourself and Paul can do, but but that's going to be at a different rate and it's going to take more time. You know, and when I work in the clinic with patients, you know, I'm there with them for half an hour for follow-ups. I'm there for an hour sometimes, well, an hour for first assessment, sometimes an hour for follow-ups, depending on how much input they need. You know, online, it's a totally different ballgame. You can't do that unless you're doing stuff like Zoom calls, but then you need to charge that price, because the price I only charge at the minute is only £10 a month.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And you get 25% off if you're a veteran. So, Paul, you'll be in there.
You get OAP's discount as well.
That's because Tom's the frugal one, let's say. That's him trying to get a Old Navy ID card just to get some money off, you know. So, but yeah, you're right. It's like at those, you know, and I think that's what a lot of people miss is, and me and Tom's spoken about this before, is they just churn out stuff, but they don't really understand their target market.
Yeah.
Like you've said there, you know, your target market is X, but if people want more sort of behavioral stuff and that's not really your, you know, a lot of people will try and bend what they're truly about to sort of capture that and include it in.
Yeah.
And then 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work then. And it sort of doesn't work for everything then.
Yeah.
Instead of going, do you know what? This is really not what you want. This is really aimed at this. And we do this online. This is why the costs are down and whatever. You know, and it's good to hear that that's what you actually envisaged and got there in the end, obviously.
Yeah.
Through time.
It's hard because it's like I run another online concept called, well, we've just released it not last week before, called Raid, which is my programming, so the kettlebells and the bodyweight stuff, and like that attracts a certain type of person, and I only want to work with that type of person. So like my concept in that is, if you're not going to meet me at 80% compliant, then I'm going to ask you to leave at the end of the first 4 weeks, because I'm not spending time putting programs together. And again, it's not an expensive concept either. It's only 30 quid a month. But the people that I've got in there are the people that I really, really enjoy working with, because they give me feedback. I give them feedback. This works, Dan. This is a little bit too out of my, you know, functional capability. Can you do something? Yeah, of course we could do something there. And I'm getting to a point now where I think, well, I've been online for like 2 years, where I understand, right, you are definitely not going to be suited to me. You need to do something with this guy or this lady. You know, when people ask me about nutrition, I'll happily refer on to people that are more qualified than me. Definitely. You know, I don't want to operate outside my scope of practice. Definitely not. And I'll give you know, guidance. Like I think I put something on this week about me eating a massive steak and this chicken and these 2 roasted. It was like 1,600 calories, and I just put, that's why you don't ask me for advice around nutrition. You know, because it's like I'm a massive believer in the old calories in, calories out, focus on protein. That's my view, and I wouldn't want to push that on anybody. But if they ask me my opinion, that's what they'll get. So, and then if they want, like, you know, carbs, fats, protein splits, and, you know, what vitamins works with, I can't tell them that.
and I think Tom will agree with me to a degree, when someone, if someone came to me and was like, right, I want this, I want the exact amount of fats and carbs for me, and how much vitamins, minerals, and this and that, I'd be like, no one can do that.
No.
You know, you can't do that. It's just that no one can actually give you that sort of split perfect for you straight off, and probably never will be able to. And especially for me, calories in, calories out are king, and protein is set at a certain rate, and that will go up or go down depending on goals, more carbs, carb sparing, that sort of stuff. But essentially, fats and carbs, I'm like, do you know what? If you prefer to have carbs, as long as you don't have any more than this amount, you know, have more carbs. If you prefer to go more down sort of the fat group, depending on the goal, you know, as long as you don't have more than this and you get all your protein in, go down that route. And I do find that people are like, oh, I thought you was going to like give me it all split down to the minute. And well, I can, but it'll, you know, you can eat 50 grams more carbs this day than that day, and essentially in the grand design, it won't really make that much difference. But if you eat far less protein, or you eat far more calories, that's the difference, you know.
Yeah.
So I do think a lot of people.
I think with what the sort of customers Dan is faced with, one of the hardest challenges is to get them to actually eat properly anyway. So to say, oh yeah, we need to do this macro splits and everything else. I mean, most well, if you, unless you're talking to athletes or something else, they're very and clueless is sort of like an insulting word, but it's about the right way to describe it. They don't know what to eat. And if you start saying too many complex things, I mean, just, okay, get your calories in a deficit. Okay, most people can handle that. Eat this much protein. Okay, I can probably handle that. And that's where it ends. Yeah. Anything else, just don't bother.
I agree, Tom. And I think, like you said, the only time it really matters is when you're talking to performance related goals and athletes and stuff. And that includes bodybuilders.
Yeah.
You know, that's when it matters. But you know, I know, like you have a specific market, a specific type that'll do either your online stuff, and obviously Tom doesn't work with bodybuilders no more, because he's now moved to a particular market as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of, you know, I'll take all comers. Because I just don't have the content that Tom does. So, but you know, I've got some bodybuilders, but I've got some people that just want to look good. They train. They've got zero interest in competing, and to be honest, they're a pleasure to work with, because they, you know, obviously I explain the basics, and like you said, it's just about calories, protein, and you know, they don't want to know anymore.
Well, the thing is when I first started it all, and that's why I wrote the book, Start With One Thing, because it was like so many people were complicating things so much, and I was just like, listen, if you just want to lose some body fat, look good, then you need to do A, B, and C. Like, one of the main things that always used to come out from me one of the sort of like trials I'd give a dad would be to build some consistency. I'd say, look, for 10 days, you're just going to do a 30-minute walk, which will burn around, depending on your pace, will burn around, you know, 250 to 350 calories. Do that consistent for 10 days. That's it. And the shock on their text messages back, or their messages back, or if I'd done a little FaceTime, would be like, what, that's it? I'm like, yeah, if you get that. And I remember one dad, he lost like 2 kilos. He lost 2 kilos in the 10 days just by doing. And I said to him, just change that. That's it. That's all I wanted to change. That's all they changed. And it was like, how have I was just like, well, you've probably, your awareness of getting off your ass. So you're probably getting off your ass more anyways in the day, not just for your walk. You're probably started to switch on a little bit more about what you're eating, because as soon as we switch the switch of, right, I need to start taking care of myself a little bit more here, your brain naturally starts to go into that, oh, well, actually, that's not going to be productive towards my goals, so I'll probably miss out on that. And we start to sort of build into that mindset of actually working towards the desired goal.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I think, certainly with some of the dads that I've worked with in the past, is they've not been specific enough on the goal that they want to achieve. And I say, like, it's the SMART principle is so easy to go by, and people try and complicate it, but just stick to the SMART principle, specific, measurable, whatever's, and then go from there. And then every so often, 3 or 4 weeks, see how far you're getting. And that's about as basic as I got with all the sort of the behaviour change advice. Because what I found was, with the challenge, and that's why I've definitely gone so far down the challenge route now, that's what excites them. That's what gets them going, like, and then the team events, and that's what gets them that sort of community feeling, and the togetherness, and we're in it together, and that's what it became. That's what changed so many dads' behaviour, was the actual challenge in itself, and having the feedback, the live feedback. I think, because I know that because it's for me. It's like today I was doing a workout and I was looking and I was thinking, right, I'm on 100 MEPs, which is my zone effort points, and I'm on 700 calories. I've got 2 massive burgers tonight, which are going to be at least 1,200 calories. So I want to smash some more calories in. And that, numbers, I'm driven by numbers. I'm like Rain Man.
It's interesting you said about the what we said about just your mindset. There was a study done recently. It's quite funny, stroke interesting, and they basically had 2 groups, and they said to them, right, if you're going to eat this food, and they said to the one group, you're eating to maintenance, and they said to the other group, you're in a deficit. So this diet you're following is in a deficit, but actually they were both maintenance diets. So they're both the same calories. And for that person, so if their ER was 2,000, they just gave them a 2,000 calorie diet. But they told the one group that you're in a deficit. If you follow this diet, you're on a diet. And they said to the other group, you're the control group. We just want to eat you maintenance, and we're going to compare you with the other group. And the group that was told they were in a deficit lost weight. And
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's an absolute placebo effect. Really interesting study. And what you're saying there about, oh, I'm in a deficit, I'm doing a diet. So mentally, you start thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't have that snack, or maybe I should be walking a bit more, maybe I should be So just by thinking you're on a diet, you can actually lose weight, because mentally you start doing the things which are conducive towards the goal you want to get to. That's crazy, isn't it?
It is, man. I've learned so much in the last 2 years in regards to all that side of things. Because like before I went online doing this, I was just sort of like so fascinated with just movement and training that I didn't really pay a lot of attention to all this side of things. And then obviously once I opened up the group and these questions was coming in, it was like, where's all this bullshit coming from? How have people got the time to read this shit? So I was sort of like, I tried to sort of cut the bullshit as much as I possibly could by using the dads that was asking the certain questions and using them as examples of like, I think one of the things that certainly dads tend to do, get about themselves completely. And one of the chapters in the book is called Treat Yourself as You Would Your Nan. And the reason being is, when I went to America it was just after I got back from the Falklands, actually, Paul. And I took my nan and my mum to America. And my nan was like, she was just turning 70. And obviously she was under my responsibility. Yeah. So I had to make sure that she was watered, make sure she had lots of sleep, make sure she was fed. She sounds like a blooming gremlin. I don't know, like Gizmo. But so I felt very responsible for my nana, and that was the sort of concept that I sort of started to talk about in the book. Was you know, we're very, as dads, we're very, and even mums, I suppose, well, as mums as well, we're very quick to put ourselves on the back burner to make sure that everybody else is all right. But there has to be an element sometimes, or most of the time, where you need some sort of you. And whether that's just 15 minutes, you know, hit or 30-minute walk or whatever it is, it needs to be there, because otherwise, I find, certainly myself personally, I just want to blow my brains out. You know what I mean? It's like,
don't do that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't do it. But it's just that. It's that. Like I said to, there's one of the dads that I love to pieces in the group. I know you shouldn't have favourites, but he's so sort of emotional, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and it's like he put something on there the other day, and I thought that's exactly how I feel about exercise. I like the mental release. It's like yesterday, I did 15 rounds of this disgusting workout where, but most of the rounds, so it's 3-minute rounds, but most of the round was just holding a blooming kettlebell in front of you. It was honking. It was disgusting. But it would challenge me like mentally.
Yeah.
That I was in the moment and I was just there. Nothing else was going on. COVID, you know, Poppy school, Charlotte being at work, nothing there. It was just me. And I know that a lot of people, you know, they'll do what you do, you know, lifting weights, or they'll do running or whatever, and that's their place. But that's what I sort of try to encourage with the dads is find something that you love or your passion for again. And even if you're not passionate about it, be passionate about the results you get with the mind zone or the fat loss and the muscle gain. And that's because it's like you just said before about you know, you're trained to keep alive, Paul. It's like, I think there's two types of people in the world. There's the people that train for purpose and the people that train for fun. Now, if you've got both of them in your life, which I'm sure we have, awesome, you're on to a winner. But if you haven't got the fun part and it's just purpose, then you need to find something that meaningful for you and that gives you results, and that otherwise you're not going to adhere to it.
You're asking Paul to find something fun to do. He does not smile at all. I've just been watching him over the whole podcast. He's just been like that. Well,
maybe it's my shit dates.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. No, I get that, and Tom will totally understand why I get that, and so will all our listeners, to be honest. I like Tom. I competed at high level and whatever, but 3 years ago I became seriously ill, and I lost about 36 kilos in 10 months, and basically Tom's very nice about it with me, but I'm sure he will agree. I basically lost the will to live, to be, to train, to everything. And in that time, I just so you know, I had sepsis and then a kidney transplant and stuff. So it's taken me a long time.
The world tried to kill him about 100 times, Dan.
Yeah.
He's like the Terminator. He just will not die. And
yeah, it's the thing is, it literally did happen like that. But my point to it is obviously what you've just been saying there. I spent 8 weeks in hospital with a sepsis. And then when I came out, I actually got rid of my training bag. Now, my training bag, that may sound like a small, negligible thing, but my training bag I'd had for 15 years and had everything that most training bags would have in it and things like that. And I genuinely thought at that point I would never set foot in a gym again. Just after that, I had heart failure and was in ICU, and I still had to have a transplant. And the day before I got sepsis, which uncannily was Father's Day in 2017, I was 106 kilos. And the day before I had my transplant in February 2018, I was 72 kilos. So I'd literally been there. My point is, I threw the bag away because I never thought I'd get into it. Once I had my transplant, I actually started back at the gym and it was massively demoralizing. But it was the fact that I enjoyed training that kept me going. The gym I train at in Plymouth I was the biggest, muscle-wise, the biggest guy in that gym a year earlier. And then I went into gym and literally, well, in my opinion, the smallest guy on the earth. But, in that, generally thought I was just the weakest, smallest guy in the gym. And the only reason, and I think actually the first time I came back from the gym, I actually hid away in my bedroom and had a bit of a cry. But I genuinely believe that it was more of the love for training, not the purpose. It wasn't the purpose. Everybody was telling me, oh, you get back to it and it'll do you good and stuff. But the purpose wasn't there, because as far as I was concerned, it wasn't, I'd been that close and everything. And it was the fun of the fact that I enjoyed training. Yeah. And that's what's taken me up to now, which I feel so much better and stuff 2 years later. Still not as strong and what have you, but I actually like the training, and now I get the results, and my mental health is a lot better from it. Yeah. So I can totally relate to what you've just said there. And I can imagine a lot of dads, a lot of men who have put other things in front of their own mental health, physical health. Yeah. Must feel it, because I think a lot of guys and a lot of women, obviously, but with this subject, a lot of guys will like dedicate themselves to work, to their career, to family, to things like that, and then suddenly wake up when they're 40, 35, 40, and go, oh, I used to love bike riding, or I used to love going to the gym, or and never having the time and things, and just getting that back.
And it's one of them as well. It's like, and hence the reason why what it's like when friends and family go, oh, you need to see, you need to speak to Dan, and they'll have someone in the family that's like, severely overweight or really out of shape, and then they'll message me and they'll say, oh, so and so told me to message you, and I'll be just upfront with them and say, whereabouts are you? Are you doing any training at the moment? Are you considered doing any training? And if they're not there or thereabouts, like with a certain amount of commitment, then I can't have them in the community, as in like the challenges. They can all join the Facebook community and ask for guidance and stuff. That's no problem. I don't mind that. But as far as the challenges are concerned, if you're not willing to step across the whitewash and accept that you've got to put the effort in, and that's what it frustrates me a lot with the sometimes is it's sold in such a way where people think that they don't have to put any effort in. It's like, why do you think that fitness is totally separate to anything else in life? If you want to get a promotion, if you want to start a business, if you want to buy a car, what do you have to do? You have to put the effort in to get those things. And fitness actually is harder to earn and easier to lose, because you've got to keep on it all the time. Yeah. And it just drives me nuts sometimes.
It is frustrating, and I agree with you. In fact, today me and Tom were speaking, and we was talking about the MyZone thing, and I actually said to him that would be a great tool for especially online coaches, online conditioning people and stuff like that, because you can actually visibly see how hard they're training. Because any online coach service, that sort of thing, has to rely on adherence. Has to, I can make the most, complex and complicated plan with, drop sets, and because everybody wants that. They don't want to see press ups. You want to right. What you want to do is
Paul's complex plans are like there's no pictures in them. That's his definition.
But they do. It's a common thing. It's like you know, you may get someone on, you go, all right, okay, you're at this level, right, okay, I want you to do, well, like you said before, Dan, I want you to do, what did you say, like a 10-minute walk for that client?
30-minute walk, 30-minute
30-minute
walk, 10
walk
days.
for 10 days, right, okay. I am sure there'll be people that will come to you and go, right, okay, here we go. Come on, what am I going to do? And you go, okay, I want you to walk for 30 minutes a day for the next 10 days. What? Well,
Yeah.
what? And like do press ups every 10 steps and this and no, just walk for 30 minutes non-stop, or if you're out of breath, obviously stop. But you know, in one go, every day for 10 days. Right? Okay. Do I superset that with something? Or
Superset your walk.
Superset your walking.
Do I have to do it fasted with aminos and you know and all this sort of stuff? And you know they don't want to see that. That is the exact advice they need. Obviously, or you wouldn't give it to them. Yeah. But it's not sexy. It's not Instagram worthy.
Sexy walk for 30 minutes.
Come and follow
Good
me.
at your glutes.
My plans are amazing. This is one of my plans. Walk. You know, it's like, you know, all that for £30 a month. You know, it's like it's not sexy. So people then obviously don't think it's going to work. But we all know if you are doing nothing and then you do 30 minutes walking every day, not only would you do that because it's only 30-minute walking, but you will then, as you clearly said, Dan, when we was talking about it, they then get to see stuff. They're fitter. Oh, I've lost a bit of weight. And, you know, and like you said, then the response back to you is better and better every day. And I think people just want too much, like you say. It's, you know.
The other thing to think about there as well is that when you say to someone, just walk for 30 minutes a day, they're going, oh, well, that's easy, you know. Yeah, but are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. So when people think nutrition is easy, oh, okay, but are you watching what you eat? No, I just eat intuitively. Well, that's why you're fat.
Mate, I tell you what, if I ate intuitively, seriously, I would be probably in hospital as a morbid obese person.
Would it be like gravy and chips all the time?
Oh my goodness, mate! Honestly, like, do you know what? I actually started tracking again this last 3 days because basically one of the lads, bless him, he's getting married and he sort of inboxed me and he said, "Oh look, I'm getting married. Can you just be?
Can you help me?
Accountable to you." So you are.
Can you kidnap me?
Yeah, fair one. So I said, like, yeah, but for me, I don't like asking people to do stuff when I haven't done it for a while or something like that. But it's still in it. So I started doing it, and mate, oh gosh, I was just like, because I've got into the habit of getting home, going to the fridge and just having like half a bar of blooming cheese.
As you do.
Like you do. And I'm just like, do you know what you like though? You're going, yeah, well, I'm training anyway, And then like the last 3 days, I've been so disappointed. And like Charlotte was like yesterday, she went, are you eating your food? She's like, I can't handle you. I'm like, no, listen, Charlotte, listen. I need to just see how many roast potatoes again are 300 grams of roast potato, how many calories. And I was like, I've been eating like 10, 15 roast potatoes easy. 5. Oh man.
How depressing.
And your wife's really pissed off because you got a load of cheese left in the fucking fridge. My wife's exactly the same, especially now because I'm not obviously a bodybuilder, a competitive bodybuilder or anything. And she's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just weighing this. I'm tracking. Literally the same as you. I'm just tracking. And she's like, no, you fucking sad. And then walks off. You know, and but the reason why I said about the complex and stuff is I was saying to Tom, those My Zone things for an online person, you can actually see, because one of the biggest issues I have with some clients is, did you do the workout? Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
do
did
the
it
workout?
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me look at your my zone. 20%. Yeah. No, you didn't. You know, it's like that. Obviously, you've got to then trust that they're going to wear it. But at the end of the day, as a coach, like you, Dan, you've just got to be reliant on the fact that someone's putting in the effort.
Well,
You know?
oh, mate, it's like there's just no hiding place. And I remember when I first started with it all, I could tell I was being criticised by some of the old folks, like the real traditional strength trainers and stuff like that, and they just think it's all gizzards and stuff. And I just thought, you know what, mate, you're missing out, because if you want to go online, which everything is going to go online eventually, I think we'll still have one-on-one and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I think in the future, every PT will have an element of online in their business. They'll have to. And I think if you're not using tools that are out there like MyZone, and don't get me wrong, there's still some hiccups with MyZone. I mean, Tom's going to find that out when, you get a message.
Now he's bought 10.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. But it's like, they'll go, why is it not connecting and that? And you're like, certainly when you get like older people, like, 50 plus.
That have got like hair on their chest.
You
like
yeah. No, honestly, Paul, seriously, we had, this is what I'm talking about. One of the dads, like 50 odd, and he was fuming. He was like, I can't get into these zones you lot are. He said, I'm working real hard. And I'm like, right, can I ask you a question? Are you hairy? And he showed me his chest he showed me a picture of his chest on the group. And I went, yeah, mate, you might have to shave a landing strip on that.
Let's just punctuate this. Now, if you're on the podcast, I would suggest you go and watch the video for what I'm about to show Dan and Paul. Okay, I couldn't get the thing to work today.
You'll have to stand
yesterday. So
that is class.
Oh,
and it works perfect now.
So please send me a picture of that so I can put it to my dads. My dads will love that. They will love that. Oh my goodness.
That's funny, isn't it? That's why I said, with old people and stuff. So
for the podcast, if you're listening, I am like a werewolf type hair, and I couldn't get the MyZone thing to work because the strap signal wouldn't go through the hair on my chest. So I've literally shaved a letterbox of skin where the MyZone thing can do, and I've just got hair everywhere, and then a letterbox of skin underneath my chest.
It's the extreme between the area you shaved and the areas you haven't.
Do you know,
you look like Paddington Bear.
I know.
I sent my friend who works for MyZone a picture of what I've done to make it work. And do you know what he sent me back? A picture of the 40-year-old virgin getting waxed.
Class.
Well,
because I've been in lockdown for like 3 weeks, whatever it is. And I've got, obviously, because I live on my own, I've got no one to either shave my head or shave my back hair. So I can shave my front of my body, but then I'll look like, this is before the werewolf and this is afterwards if I turn around. So I'll have like a nice trim front and then turn around just like a rug on my back. It looked awful.
Do you know what? The funny thing is, everybody stopped listening when you showed us and stopped watching it. They were just like that. We don't care your excuses. You
just need to see it.
Everyone stop the podcast. Right, find YouTube and see what they will be.
Yeah, we're going to have a record amount of people watching the video now. But yeah, and I'll be honest, at first when Tom told me about his idea with MyZone, I was like, all right, okay, it's another, like you said, a tool, a geek sort of thing, just to add service. But when you really think about it, it does make you as a coach, as a provider, more efficient, because you can focus in on especially for you, Dan, with the group setting, you can focus in on the individuals that maybe are not necessarily putting in the work, but maybe struggling with stuff. And then you can focus on them and give them obviously the quality that you give, sort of thing, but more direct to them. Is that?
Yeah. So basically, there's an element of you end up focusing on the people that are engaging, and that's why the price isn't, extraordinary, because it's like, if I send an email or a message to every single person that doesn't engage, so we've got about, I think, 50% engagement. We've been at about 80% engagement when we first started, but then obviously people sort of fall by and do whatever. Sometimes it does play on my mind, and I think, should I be getting in contact with these people that I'm not engaging? But then I think, is that a different thing altogether? Because if they're struggling with this, then they definitely need some more input, behaviour change wise. Because if that's not the trigger, then I need to find out what is the trigger, and it's balancing that time. So, like, are you going to do a full half hour for someone that pays £10 a month? You're not really. But can you send them a little message or a little email? Yeah, of course you can. They paid £10. But even then, as soon as you send an email, as you probably both are aware, or a text message, you get away. Oh yeah, I was going to start. I've just been doing this, and this, and that. All the excuses come up of why they haven't been engaging, and then it's like 2 weeks later they're back in the same position. So you're like, it's a difficult one. I think the way I want to grow it is I want maximum numbers in there, so bigger numbers, more teams, more competition with the people that it actually does suit, people that want competition, want team, a team ethos, a community feel. And the people that come in and don't sort of engage, I think in the future for me, I will just sort of say, like, in a message is, are you going to be engaging anytime soon? If not, I think you need to sort of take yourself out of the competition sort of thing, and not pay the money into the challenges, because I don't think for me, it's not ethical, really, taking money off people if they're not really engaging. And then also, it's not fair on the other lads that are. And what we're asking, really, every month in the challenges is for people to just do the minimum, which is 1,300 MEPs. 1,300 MEPs, if for listeners, the equivalent of that is a 30-minute workout a day, moderate to vigorous activity, or 15-minute high intensity. That's it. For 5 days, that is, by the way, as well. So it's not like they need to do extraordinary amounts of exercise. All we're asking is to contribute what they can. And some of them just don't even contribute whatsoever. So it's like a really difficult dilemma. And it did play on my mind a lot just recently, thinking about changing the sort of the target market, because everyone knows me as the dad coach, and it's all dads. But this stop in in the world that we're going for at the minute has made me stop and think, right, I'm putting so much time and effort into this concept. I mean, I've put hours, days, weeks into this, wrote books, wrote content, wrote, all this stuff that I've given. And there's only a certain percentage of those people that have took it on board and actually engaged and gone away and done the stuff. So it's like, for me now, going forwards, I want to attract more of this type of person. So therefore, I will change the target market. So I won't talk about dad bod to dad god anymore, because quite frankly, the dads that are in there now that are engaged, they've lost their dad bod, months ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not about that anymore. And like, a lot of people in the past have been put off by that as well. It's the fat dad thing. And it's like, yeah, but if you really get involved and you get involved in the community and get involved in the challenges, you'll soon realise that it's not about that whatsoever.
Do you think, sorry, Dan, do you think the way you've just described it there, do you think it's more of a victim of your own success sort of thing? Because, like you said, you've been known as a dad bod guy and things like that. And, what you've described is, your guys are not dad bods anymore, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very much like right, okay, so in your groups that you're coaching and stuff, there's like a lesser percentage of dad bods. So it's more of a victim of your own success, is why that your target market may now need to, expand. Obviously, you're not going to change it so no dads you can't now join, but it's going to expand, and you're going to obviously hit a wider market and different packages for different things. Do you think that's sort of the case?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And I think certainly with my own. So, like, what happened to me was I fall off the wagon a little bit when I left the mob because I had like quite a lot of stuff going on. So my dad had cancer and he was about to go. We was about to be having Poppy. Sorry, I'm just changing this here so I can plug the blooming laptop in, or it's going to go. Yeah, we had Poppy. Lots of stressful things going on. I'd left the military. That had a massive impact on me. And it was just a case of all this stuff was spiraling out of control. And I literally didn't know what was happening to me. And I was overeating and I was really, really emotionally eating massively when I look back now. And when I started to take the reins back, and then I got back on track and got back into the group, because I've always been into conditioning. That's my thing. Is I love conditioning. I love putting my body in a dark place, like pushing it to the limit. Not so much for the aesthetic point of view, but it's just what can I cope with. And I was still training, but because I was eating like, I think, this is disgusting, by the way. So I was eating like 8 fish fingers in Mexican cheese wraps. I was like having 2 or 3 of them a night, easy. For like a snack and that. That's just disgusting. That's just me. And so once I sort of started to get myself back on track with all that, and then my training intensity increased, and then I literally just lost so much weight after my dad died, because I sort of thought, well, I can't keep on using the excuse to be miserable of my dad dying and all this shit that I've been going through. Yeah. So I just got a hold of myself and then got myself back on track. And then, like I said, I found that actually the dad bod was a thing. And sort of after talking with Mike Samuels and stuff like that. So then I got back on track, got back in shape, and then all this started to happen. And then every dad that I've worked with that I've took to the advice on board, that they love fitness now. They thrive on it, and it's so the dads that are in there now, and the people that I want to attract are those sort of people. And I've found that the people that haven't probably engaged are these people that are that do probably need a little bit more help in other areas of their well-being, which is mental mostly, I think. And like I said, I can only give some advice and give some guidance, but I'm not a qualified psychotherapist or counsellor. And for £10 a month, you're not going to get that off somebody. Like, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what, Dan? I agree with the second part of that about and I think people need to realise this. Me and Tom have spoken about this before on the podcast, about what people charge and what people expect, and like in every form in your life, there is people that charge an extreme amount of money and people that charge an extreme little amount of money, and it's like, I'm sure what I charge, someone would come along and go, that's too expensive. I was thinking more about this. And, there'll be some markets that go, is that all you charge? And you just, but I think it's when people they need to understand what they're getting for the money. And like you said, you stick to a certain subject, a certain area. Obviously, that area has no lights. So you are literally blindly going where no man has gone before.
Just give him a charger.
Yeah, Tom, I'm not sure about this video thing, you know.
Well, people listening on the podcast are even more confused because you just started talking about something and then digressed into the fact that Dan had, by the looks of it, descended into a black hole.
Right.
Batteries on Apple just drain, don't they?
I don't know. Pro.
It's a MacBook Pro, yeah.
Should be fine.
I think we just lost Dan for a second there. I think I lost you there for a second, Paul. Let's go back to we were talking before we got to the black hole. We were talking about psychological factors and stuff like that.
Black hole.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. So the point I was making was, like you said, you charge £10 a month. The reason why you charge that is because you don't spend a lot of time doing individualized things, and you can charge that because you then don't, you know, it's not a counselling service, for the want of a better word. On your first point with that about, yeah, but I'm not a counsellor, I'm not a psychiatrist and whatever. No, obviously you're not, but I do think there's a massive value in real life experiences, especially with someone who actually has their head screwed on, which you obviously have. You've had a lot of it's all right, mate. You've had a lot of experiences, you know, being in the Navy. You know, I was in there. Tom will take the piss, but you know, for anybody who's been in the Navy, that is an experience.
Well, you did 10 years, Paul, so...
Yeah, some bad, some good, you know? And I do think that, I think the first part of your, like, statement before was, you're not obviously a trained one, but I think sometimes people want to just know that someone earlier about you know,
yeah.
Paul,
I do think there's a real value I get.
Just go back about 20 seconds because we lost you for a second there.
Why are you losing me?
I think either my internet connection is unstable or it just doesn't like you.
Well, seeing it's your internet connection.
We're talking about
it's probably the latter.
We're talking about Dan's experiences, and then you got onto the Navy. That's probably why it's
right. Okay. Off. So, like, because you've had many life experiences, being in the Navy being one. I know that for a fact. And obviously, sadly, the losses in your life and things, you can understand that and appreciate the fact that, you know, like you said, you emotionally ate after coming out the mob, which I can really sympathize with, because that's what I did. Because I don't know about you, Dan, but when I came out the mob, it was like, right, okay, I've got to do what for myself now?
Oh, mate, it was a real difficult transition because I was supposed to be a dad as well, and I didn't know how to be one of them. And what I thought I was going to be sort of selling these licenses into schools with my books, and that was going to provide a living for my family, it didn't. Then I had to go back contracting. I was about 6 months out of work before I got back into work, because when I went back into contracting, it was all this sort of security, believe it or not, even though I was going back to the MOD, I had to go through all this security clearance. Then I had to get somebody to sort of vouch for me, if you like. And it was a real dark place, because We didn't have no money. We had to go live back at my Charlotte's mum's. We had to go live at Charlotte's mum's. It was just a real whirlwind of shit.
And I think, you know, it's not, obviously it's not nice going through that, but I do think that people will listen to you because you can grab onto real experiences. You know, it's like I get a lot of messages now from people who have got end-stage kidney failure, who have been in dialysis, who are waiting for a transplant, you know, and things like that. And I spoke to a guy just the other day. His actual friend gave him my contact details, and the last part of his initial email to me was 50% of the time I just want to die.
Wow.
You know. And I sent him an email back, told him, you know, obviously truths about dialysis and things like that. And he was like, do you know what? The fact that you've gone up through all this, and I went through a lot, but the fact that you've gone through all this and you are now back training, you now feel healthy. Yeah, I'm in the current climate, I'm an extremely risky, you know, of getting it and all that sort of stuff. But the fact I'm doing now, as actually he said he would hope then he'll stop feeling like that, because as far as he was concerned, that was it. Because he was into the gym and things like that, and he's a successful businessman and things like that, but he liked his training. And as far as he was concerned, he could never lift again. And I went through the same type of dialysis that he did, that he's going through now. And it did. It just strips you, you know. It literally strips the life out of you. But him knowing now, he will get through this, he will get a transplant, and after that, he can then get back to the gym. Meant so much to him. And I'm sure the people that you will speak to, you know, and the people that follow you or in your groups and things like that, knowing why you started the dad bod thing, you know, will give them some hope and some just something to achieve, because you've done it. You're not an influencer on Instagram with a full set of abs and shoulders to die for and stuff, going, yeah, if you do this, you'll look like me.
No,
you know,
savage
stuff like that. You are a normal person, but you are a normal person, you know, with a family, you know, trying to provide, and a ginger beard and ginger. You know, it's like you've gone against the universe ever since you were born, you know, and you still stood there laughing. You know, I just think it's a great thing, and I think I don't think many people understand what they have to offer, not only from qualifications and things like that. I've got no qualifications in training or nutrition, you know, and you know, a lot of my successes and stuff like that is born from my experiences, and I think more people should trust them, and less people should think getting a few letters after the name Tom will make them a success.
Well, it's funny you say about qualifications. It's like I've never. I don't get me wrong. I do read papers and stuff. Obviously, for my job with exercise rehab, and I do have to justify you know, I have to give a justification of evidence why I'm doing what I'm doing. But it always comes down to the same things mostly, and that's why I don't tend to spend too much time reading about the elements of, you know, what conditions they are and stuff. I spend more time about how I can change people's perception of exercise and get them doing exercise in the first place, because that's most of, even in the military, that's a problem. But the point that I think what you brought up there about qualifications is I've got no qualifications apart from my PT qualification and my ERI qualification with regards to exercise. I've obviously done some CPD and stuff, but one of the biggest things in my life that I really like got me in here is my two recent articles in men's fitness. Now, don't get me wrong, mate. I have not got the body for men's fitness front cover, and I've definitely not got the face. But
for those listening without video, me and Tom can totally agree with that statement.
But it was like, you know, it's like the Bible of fitness, isn't it? It's like Muscle and Fitness, Men's Health, Men's Fitness. These are the magazines as a kid that I used to pick up. And having, like, last month we had a double page spread. This month we've got a double page spread. And I'm just like, you know, I'm a kid that couldn't even spell GCSE when I left school. Do you know what I mean? And I just think it's it's funny because, like, the one of the guys that I work with at work, who's like me, he's like me dad, if you like, Paul. He's a band 7 physio, knows more about physio and you know, clinical anatomy than I know. He's forgotten about more than I know. He's so knowledgeable, and he's so academic, but he loves getting into conversations with myself because I come from a completely practical and background. Because you can be in these conferences and seminars, certainly rehabilitation, and you'll have sports doctors and everything like that reading out all this good Gucci stuff and all this latest research. And like, you ask just one question, and the question is going to be, how does the customer receive that? How does your patient, you know, Vera, 96 years of age, who's just had double hip replacement, or probably not had a double hip replacement at that age, but do you know what I mean? It's like, how does she understand what you're going on about? What does that mean to her everyday life? And how does that translate? Because most of the time as well, mate, they don't know how to translate that information.
Well, we've talked about this, Tom, haven't we, in the past, about obviously me and Tom are evidence-based people on the whole, obviously. Yeah. Although both of us admit to doing bro science stuff throughout our bodybuilding career, as everybody else did. But there's a, you know, I take the piss out of the real geeky evidence-based people because they're no better than the real bro science bodybuilders, you know. And it's where me and Tom sit, definitely, and a lot of our friends, is, yeah, we're evidence-based, but you've got to practically apply that. You know, it's okay saying, you know, it's like, oh, you've got to have this grammage of this, and you've got to, every 3 hours, you know, it's all right if that gave you statistically good results, but you've got to apply that into real lives, real people with jobs and kids. And, you know, my wife gets up in the morning and my 4-year-old has said mum 3,000 times before she's had a drink of tea. You know, it's like, you know, but then she's got to remember that if she does a cardio now, you know, without water, and do you see what I mean? So I think practical application of anything this will
make you laugh, right? So I did the ISSN qualification, and I also re-enrolled back into the IOPN, which is the Institute of Performance Nutrition. And this was all before I started doing the dent thing. So actually I had to put that on hold. And in the first module, there was a bit of education about vegan protein and stuff like that. And then the task, so it was like a forum question, and you had to respond as to, like, this vegan is doing this vegan is doing it's vegan is doing person and how dare they?
How dare they?
That person there.
Yeah. Oh, that come out the wrong way. Anyway, so this vegan person is doing this exercise, and so they can't have whey as a post-workout shake. So what would be your recommendation for a post-workout recovery meal for this vegan? And like, I was reading, I thought, well, that's pretty easy. And then everybody was like, wow, I'll have a teaspoon of quinoa, and then some linseed oil, and then some of this, and a sprinkle of that, and blah, 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 and then like half a potato. And I was just reading it thinking, well, and there was like a long list. And then like, well, here's my answer. Here's some cornflakes and a vegan protein shake. No, that solves the issue. It's high glycemic, complex carbs. Cornflakes are high in leucine as well. and then you've got a vegan protein shake, which solves a protein issue. That is much more applicable to the real world than getting out one of one of them screw fix direct boxes where you get all the screws and stuff in, which people use for their vitamins. And it's like, hey Rob, what are you doing there? This is my post-workout shake. Look, a little sprinkle of everything that goes into the shake, and then I have to have one of these blenders that I shake 3 times this way and 3 times this way, and then put it in the fridge for half an hour so it ferments. Like, fuck,
my goodness.
Honestly, it was. I mean, that was the first module, so it was people who maybe were not practitioners yet. But I just thought you're massively overcomplicating the situation. A protein shake and some cornflakes,
and that essentially is the problem with the, in my opinion, the industry as a whole. It's the clients have now got sort of used to complex things are, the higher value they can put on them, and whatever. It's like, we laughed earlier and we took the piss, but if someone is just starting out and they want to build shoulders and chest, then get them to do press ups. Do 50 press ups. Oh, I can't do that. I want to start on bench. Well, I'll tell you what, do 50 press ups at 90 kilos, which is what you are, all right? And then once you've done 50 press ups, then we'll load the bar with 90 kilos and see what you can lift then. It's sort of, you've never lifted, you're starting out, you want to build your chest and your shoulders, your triceps, do a press up. Yeah, but they're boring.
I tell you what, it's, I came across, I've been going through loads of stuff that I've written over the, since probably PT course, which was 2008. And I came across this, I don't know if you would have come across it, Frank Howley. And he did so it was literally just, you pick 5 bodyweight exercises, press up, I think it was like lunge or bulk area split squat, whatever. Anyways, these 5 exercises. And all he did was, he did maximum effort, 60 seconds rest, maximum effort, 60 seconds rest, maximum effort, then move on to the next exercise for five exercises. That's it. And I was just like, how simple, and yet that would still get results.
But it's not sexy. It's not. No. Like I said before, you're not supersetting, you're not giant setting or time under tension or blood restriction, and all that. It's just like, I've actually had a client, Tom actually knows about this, on the forums and the shows and stuff. And he wants to work with me, so I said, right, we go through the normal thing, and I write down this plan, and I always say the plan's the initial plan, because I don't know how your body's going to react. So really good plan, whatever. Yeah. And his email back to me was, I was really disappointed, and really sort of slated everything. I was like, what? And at the end of his email, he was like, yeah, I expected things like, giant sets and certain like time delays, like 1 second down, 2 seconds up, time by 10, and all the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
And how long do I rest for? You say 60 seconds, but should I stand? Should I drink? Should I sit? Should I hop? Stuff, and I'm like, seriously? He's like, well, I expected so much more from you. Yeah, but I don't know you. The whole point of coaching is to get,
Good to know.
And well, that's it. And it's like I've just given him that. Like I just said, right, do press ups for 60 seconds, then have 60 seconds off, then do chin ups for 60.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but if I do that, what am I paying you for? you're paying me to make you not a fat git and to look good. This will do that, you know.
Accountability, I think, is the big thing, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's, there are times and places for supersets and things like that, you know, and strict form and tempo and stuff like that. And 99% of the guys that are doing it don't need to do it. It's like everything, and you know, that includes, you know, there's certain aspects of everything that is what you call icing on the cake. Once you can do 10 pull-ups, which a lot of people can't, you know, then start throwing, you know, weights around, or learn the deadlift. Learn, you know, I'm a big believer in utilizing equipment, you know, and I'll be the first one to say, you know, I probably wouldn't be able to, well, I certainly wouldn't now be able to complete one of your like classes, but it's about progression, you know, and adherence and accountability. And I think more and more people want to go, right, here's a tenner, Dan. Right, I've been with you 2 weeks and I can't see my abs.
I know, mate. It's one of the things what I like about what you're just saying as well. So in my RAID program, in the coaching where I do, you know, write programs for people, and when they first come on board, they ask me about the testing. So it's like, because I do a test when they first come on board. I don't do the test until the week 4, and I said, "Oh, I thought we test and then test again." So I said, "Well, like you're saying, I don't know yet. So this is just to prep you. So like, you'll do your first test, and then after that, we'll test and test and test." So I test all my clients every 4 weeks. On if they're in a kettlebell program, I'll test them on the kettlebell. If they're in the bodyweight, I'll test them a bit of both. And the reason being is, like, if I've never met them before, and I'm going to test them, means that they've got to go to an absolute extreme of almost failure of form. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that if I've never seen you move before. This will prep you a little bit, and then I'll be pretty confident by week 4 you'll get the movements, and then you can you can test. And they're like, "Oh right, okay, So I totally get that. Especially on the coaching point of view.
Yeah, it's for me. It's I'm totally open with it. I'm like, yeah, it's an initial period. You know, I'm not going to tell you you're going to lose this much weight, because I have no idea how capable you are at these exercises, how capable you are of restricting food into your mouth, you know, how much meat you truly, you know, expect. You know, and time based on the answers you have given me and your stats and stuff, this is the plan I believe will baseline you. You know, if you lose weight with this diet, then we'll have to obviously adjust it. If you gain weight with this diet, well, if you gain weight or lose weight with this diet, you lied to me. So you know, so, but I baseline them, and then I don't test them, but then I start going, right, okay, here we go now. I know what moves you. So now I'm going to change your training now to start looking at the goal we set. So now you want to lose weight, right? Let's do this. Because I know if I drop these calories or do this to your training or add this or whatever, I know what I'm going to see, you know. And if I don't see it, then you're not doing because I've baselined you.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how your body's going to react. And, you know, unfortunately, some people just don't, they just expect you to, you know. So
it's that entitlement, and it's like, I've paid money, so I've paid for the results. Yes, you have paid for the results, mate, but you have to put the effort in. It's like, I'm sure you've done this, Tom, as well, when you do, like, you know, loom videos or real Gucci stuff, and you've got to put it out there, and it's like, oh, well, no one's really using that information. And it's like, well, that's, and going back to the book, you know, the start one thing, that is literally a map of behaviour change on how to get your head in a good place to then get your ass in gear. And I'm like, read that, put any of that information into practice, and you'll get some results. And that's as simple as it gets. Coaching is a completely different thing altogether. And that's what I've learned in the 2 years is coaching to get results, you need one-on-one or small group. I would say small group would probably work. But if you're going to sort of put information out there, like what I'm doing with the challenges and on that side of things, and you're just putting information out there for them to, you know, take on board and then put into practice, then that needs to be a separate thing altogether. And that's where I've come into that realization where I've gone, right, if I really want to make a difference with this guy, then he's going to need maybe an hour or two a month of this sort of stuff. But this guy who's something to keep his appetite in competition, he's definitely suited for that. There you go. And that's definitely something that I realised, that unless you've got some sort of model where it's sort of, you know, you're coaching the challenges, and then you've got another element of one-on-one coaching, and then it's up to us then as coaches, I think, and be very honest with ourselves to go, right, you fit into this bracket, and then if they don't fit into any of those brackets, then you need to refer them on. And I think what you're talking about there, Paul, with your guys about, you know, even the guy that's saying, oh, right, I expected so much more. It's, and then like, well, what are people? One of the things that, what was it? I think one of the PTs that I was working with a few years back, he went up and worked with the Saracens. And he was saying, like, what do you think they do on a day-to-day basis for their strength and conditioning program? And again, you're thinking, that's going to be some sexy, complex stuff. And it wasn't. It was literally like stuff like farmers carries, the deadlift, the bench press, literally basics. And we had the guy who so this is something new for the Special Boat Service, so the SBS. He did a presentation to us, and it was quite similar. So we was thinking Special Forces, they're going to be doing all this Gucci stuff. Nah, it was all real basic stuff. And what he said resonated with me is, but the difference between these people and normal people is that they do it religiously, consistently, and better than anybody else. So they just get the basics right and they do it. And like people, they do think I'm autistic because I think, honestly, because I get so fascinated with things, and the Turkish get up is one of my things, and the reason being it coached me out of pain, because it taught me where I was putting myself into pain with my back and my neck and my knee and my ankle and stuff. So I became so absorbed with it. But it's such a basic move, but I do it every single day. I do it every single day, whether it be body weight, whether it be weight, whether it be a breakdown of some element. I do it every day. Why? Because I want to be awesome at it. Yeah. So I want people to go, and this is probably a little bit of my ego here, but I want people to go when they see a kettlebell and a Turkish kettlebell, they go, Dan Fallon. You know, that's what I want people to think. Because then when they want to learn that movement, which there isn't many people out there, by the way, they'll go, oh, you gotta go to Dan Fallon because he knows how to do the Turkish kettle.
It's weird you say about that, because I put that in my routines, and it's a lot more prevalent recently, because I'm very lucky at choosing, because it's not my like main job, but I managed to retain all of my clients when the gym's shut and stuff. So obviously I provide them home workouts and whatever, and I include the Turkish get up with most of them. And I think I think 3 of them have come back, and I think it's 3, and come back and go, can you put something else in? You know,
it's quite a taste.
Yeah, and to 2 of them I've said no. You know, let's just try and like get around this, get used to it and things like that. One I had to because she's got a back injury sort of thing.
After doing it,
but yeah, like you say, I can't do them. You know, I'll be honest, I can't do them.
So when I first started to sort of be fascinated with it was, I think, where was I? I was working in Marchwood, which is the army base just near Southampton, and I was sort of like disillusioned, and I was like with my own training, I was just doing things and going through the motions, and kettlebells was quite sexy. It was becoming more sexy, and then, but I kept on seeing so much shite and so many people like doing some weird and wonderful things, and then I came across Pavel. And then I thought, right, okay, I'll read this guy. And I read some of his stuff. Then I looked at the Strong First qualification. And it was like, it's £1,000 for the weekend. And I thought, I'm not paying £1,000 for a frigging 3-day course. But the thing is, the more I got into it, the more I thought, right, where can I get that £1,000 from?
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting £1,000 together. And I paid for it. And then what happened was I put a video on Facebook. And straight away, Claire, who's got the eyes of a shithouse rat, was like, inbox me, I need to talk to you. So I was like, obviously, she's about 5 putting a peanut, and you know, my ego's like PTI in the Royal Navy, you know. And she went, right, your shoulders are not doing this, you're not following through on the here. And I was just like, who's this? But to be fair, what she said to me resonated. I went, right, where do you live? She lived about 2 hours away from me. I went, coming to see you. So then I spent about 2 years driving up and down, back and forth to her, and then did the qualification. But like, it just completely changed. The way that they train and the way that they express and teach strength training is just completely upside down to how I was taught, you know, in PT school, or even the Essence. Do you know the what's it called? Strength and conditioning course, UKSCA. I mean, they're like very highly regarded, aren't they? And to be fair, mate, I went on all 3 of their workshops, and Strong First absolutely blew them out of the water. If I'm honest, absolutely blew them out of the water.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, the qualification that they put on was immense.
Yeah, I was about to say we're just coming over the hour. So although this is an incredibly in-depth chat about strength stuff, which is really interesting, I think we've got to maybe look to call it a day.
I was actually going to say that this is going to be an extremely long podcast.
I was going to get the coronas out and just start with a bit of the corona and that.
All right then. Let's wind it up then. There's one thing I think would be interesting is to understand if I with you know limited experience came to you, so you could tell the listeners about what the process is, you know. So if I came to you, contacted you and said, right, Dan, you know, I want to do some training. How would your process work?
Would definitely be now. I'd ask what your experiences are. So, you know, are you a veteran? Have you had experience being part of a team? Have you trained before? You know, have you been in a sports team? Are you an ex-sports player? If you fall into those categories and you say, yeah, you know, I used to do a bit and stuff like that, I'd go, are you a dad? Or are you a man now? Obviously, if you're a man now. Yes, so this would get into teams. Usually, those sort of people go, yeah, that's definitely for me. All I need is a little bit of drive and that. And then I suppose after these days, after the first challenge, if they've not pulled away, it will be an email saying, look, listen, mate, I don't think it is for you. You might need a little bit more one-to-one coaching. I put on this, or like exercise-wise with the kettlebells or body weight. They'll go onto my RAID program, which is basically just pure conditioning. We focus on form all the time, and we focus on getting the heart and lungs going, with elements of strength endurance in there. I'd be a fool if I said it was a strength program, because it's not, because there's no rest. You know what I mean?
So it's conditioning and a bit of strength and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you get stronger, but it's not the traditional way to get stronger, if that makes sense. So they would go into that, and that would be guided by what experience, again, have they had in lifting? Have they done any kettlebells before? If they've done some sort of training before, then they're ready for that, and I can build them up. If they haven't done any sort of significant training before, they're definitely not ready for that. And then that, again, is the question of, do I bend what I do to suit them, or do I go, you're probably better off going on YouTube, mate, to get started? Do you know what I mean?
And I think, to be honest, Dan, that part of it, what you've just said there, does set you aside from a lot of people. You know, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great coaches out there, strength and conditioning, bodybuilding, nutritionalists. You know, there are a lot of really good ones. But unfortunately, what everybody hears about is the ones that take your money and really don't produce the goods, unfortunately. But what you've said there is, to be honest, it sounds a little bit blunt, but you know, what is your experience? Oh, I'm like you said, I'm a veteran. I do this, I do that. Right, excellent. This. I've got no experience. I've hardly ever trained. Well, to be honest, I don't want to take your money. You know, do this and whatever. And I think there's less and less people out there that would do that, and they would probably go, I tell you what, come into the challenges and we'll, just sort of, like you said, bend the rules a bit. But I think when people do that, and it's good to hear that you don't do that, that dilutes the actual importance of the service you give, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like, at the minute, there's I think some people that have paid into it this last month, but certainly this month, where I've actually sort of drawn the line and gone, like, listen, stop paying into this, because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then if you're paying money, I'm obliged to put you in the challenges. And then it's on behalf, to be fair, nowadays, it's on behalf of all the other blokes that are in there. Because if they're putting the effort in, don't get me wrong, there's some dads in there that they're addicts, mate. You know, some of them are doing 2-hour workouts a day because they're based in Oman, working on rigs and stuff like that. So they're working out crazy hours. So, but I'm not asking everybody to do that. I'm just asking the people that pay the money to contribute to the team. It's like if you was on a rugby field and you'd expect the winger to catch the ball and run the line. You'd expect the prop forward to run the ball up in the middle, and you'd expect the hooker to run around. And that's the way I sort of sell it to the guys, is in a team, everyone has to contribute. So
that's good. It's always good to obviously have someone like yourself on, but obviously give the listeners an understanding of how the process works, you know, because like we edged on earlier, I think some people just go, right, here's my money. There we go. Yeah, you know. So, but it's great to have you on, Dan, and it's great for me to meet you.
It's in class.
All that, you know. We've had a really good time. Tom,
I just don't want to interrupt this romance that's going on there. It's like
he's gonna moan forever, I tell you.
I'll just leave you two guys to it to talk about like ships and stuff. Oh, did you see the forecastle on that one? Oh yes, it's very interesting.
Forecastle. And shut up before you really make an idiot of yourself. Forecastle.
I knew that would get me.
You mean the forecastle?
Next minute, you know, he's going to be calling a
It's
submarine.
written forecastle.
He's going to be calling a what's it called? He's going to be calling ships and boats. And it's going to be.
Do you know what,
you know
Dan?
what I
I
mean?
was just about to say.
And
why do you didn't call them a boat?
Why don't you turn left or right on these boats? Why is it starboard and port? It's left or right.
Not going to happen, Tom. Not going to bite.
Okay, so Dan, before we go, can you tell people how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can go on Instagram, and I'm Dan Fallon PT, and we also do the Super You project as well. So we've got 2 pages there. I'm more active on Dan Fallon PT. I'm more active on Dan Fallon PT on Facebook as well, but we have a Super You page on Facebook as well. Or you could just drop me an email, dan@superuprojects.com.
Super You.
Yeah, Super You, as in the spelling of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not down with this kid stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Is that SUPA capital U?
Fair one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to clarify for those that are not getting the banter, it's SUPERYOU. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super You.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so Paul, your Instagram?
Yeah, Team P-Scarb on Instagram and Facebook, and P-Scarb 101 on Twitter, and my website is the normal W's, teampscarb.co.uk.
Okay, and me is Tom Blackman Nutrition on Instagram. Tom Blackman _nutrition on Instagram if you want to do Instagram nutrition stuff. So I'm out of it.
Instagram nutrition stuff. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's 9:30 and it's way past your bedtime.
Way past my bedtime,
so,
mate.
A word from our sponsors. A word from our sponsors.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Nice one. That's good. So, yeah. Bye.
Yeah, cheers, fellas.
Thanks, Dan. Cheers, mate.
Hey, Dan. Nice to meet you, buddy. You take care, all right?
And you, partner. Take it easy.
Take it easy. Bye now.
See you all next time.
Yeah.
UK bodybuilding is in crisis, with growing numbers of competitors opting for more accessible fitness-based competitions, and with controversy and discourse within the established federations in the UK, traditional bodybuilding is at risk of being squeezed out. But after 3 years away from the sport, 2 veterans of the UK bodybuilding scene are out to prove they'll do whatever it takes to win a British title.
I don't train to lose, and Paul doesn't train to lose.
I would liken them to brothers, actually.
It has been said that we look like brothers. I personally don't see it because I'm much better looking and taller than him.
We're quite similar, except that he's like 40 years older than me.
For real men, use this.
That's my applause.
As Tom and Paul prepare for their return to bodybuilding, we find out what happens when best friends become rival competitors on the same stage.
You know, I've taken gear for years, but I've never beaten up my girlfriends. A testosterone product, a product called Trembolone, Mastron. Just Google pro steroid cycles.
That advice is normally given by idiots.
4 grams of test prop a week. What a fucking joke.
I'm going to have to go Team Tom at this point, but don't tell him that.
There's always competition, isn't there? But that makes you want to be better.
He's judging, you can see he's still got the passion for it and he still wants to be up there.
This guy to get grumpy when he's died.
I have more titles than Tom.
This is not following a diet. This is not getting fit. This is not drugs doing the work. This is whatever it takes. This is prep.